on August the 10th in the North Channel Star. Concurrently at the same time, the copy of the proposed budgets was published to the district's website. These budgets must be adopted by August 31st so that they are available for our campuses and departments to begin spending on September 1. And those budgets will be recommended for adoption later at tonight's meeting. The proposed tax rate that we will also discuss this evening, we will not recommend that you take action on that rate at this time, but rather that will be considered at a future board meeting. So what has occurred since the last meeting that we had on August the 1st that has changed? So at that time we talked about the pending legislation that was proposed to increase the homestead exemption from $40,000 to $100,000. And even though the law that would trigger this mechanism to increase the homestead would not be even proposed to the public until November the 7th, the Harris County Appraisal District was required to provide the district with what the estimated certified taxable value would be in case that law does pass and the homestead is increased to $100,000. So that estimated value was provided to us, on July the 25th, or rather August the 3rd, and it's $12.6 billion. That is a little slightly smaller than the $13.2 billion that they provided to us on July the 25th. So again, we would be awaiting the passage of its HJR2 at the November 7th election, so to see if this $100,000 exemption would be successful. We still don't have our final certified values from Harris County. We are not expecting to receive those until later this month on August the 28th, so we expect a revision at that point. So as you can see, there have been many revisions to estimated values. Some of them are based on this possible increase, and some of them are just because of valuation issues that occur commonly here in Harris County. So our budget assumptions also for 23-24 assume a property tax rate. So maximum compressed tax rates have compressed in our proposed rate that this budget is based on for maintenance and operations is 0.8376. This is a 20.5-cent decrease from your current rate that has been used to fund the 22-23 budget. We also are currently assuming that the debt service rate would not change, and that's 0.31148. I know that the debt service will change, but this is the maximum possible debt service rate that we could establish. Once we receive those final values on August the 28th, we do expect that valuation of the valuation adjustments will trigger a decrease in this tax rate as well. So, and again, you're not considering the tax rate tonight, you're only considering the budget, but we do know that we will have to make a series of adjustments to our budget estimates for this year. For enrollment purposes, we use multi-year modeling, and we had assumed a 1% decline for 23-24. This resulted in an average daily attendance estimate of 19,168. And again, that is important just for state aid purposes because that is the main generator of state aid. Our base allocations, when we give campuses funds, we use an average daily attendance estimate. We do monitor those estimates throughout the year. If they have an increase in enrollment, we do increase their allocations. However, if they have a decline, we never take funds away from the campuses once the year has started. Our department allocations, we used a historical spending estimates, and then we also adjusted for any permanent increases or decreases that may be made. On your compensation plan, this budget that we're proposing tonight, it does fully support the 3% midpoint pay increase that the board adopted in June. This was a $64,450 beginning salary for all employees that were tied to the teacher pay scale. So all returning teachers received a minimum increase of $2,000. A bullet point that is not on this slide that I do want to make sure that I bring to your attention is that also included in these budget estimates is an amount of $850,000, and that would be necessary so that the district could increase our contribution toward our employees' health care insurance. Health care insurance premiums for TRS Active Care increased between 6.8 to 7.2%, and we felt that it may be necessary for the district to increase our contribution rate. So what we've done is we've done a maximum contribution here of $50 per month for employees that participate on the health insurance. So that would max out at $50 per month depending on what options they chose. We also have money in here to fund life cycle, technology, fleet upgrades, and also increased security contracted services. So for the general fund budget, what we have proposed here tonight is revenue of $251 million, expenditures $252 million, a small deficit of $1.1 million. I also want to note here that 84% of the general fund is devoted to payroll costs. On our food service budget, we have proposed revenues of $19.6 million, expenditures of $20.7 million, and again, a deficit of $1.1 million. This deficit is mainly so that we can continue to make upgrades in the cafeterias and use some fund balance that we have in place that our Texas Department of Agriculture does not allow us to continue to carry on the books from year to year. On the debt service fund, we have right now in this proposed budget $41.3 million in revenue, $38.9 million in expenditures, so surplus actually at $2.4 million. I do want to note here, this proposed budget assumes that the tax rate for the debt service remains unchanged, and again, we're awaiting those final values from Harris County, the certified values, before we determine what the final tax rate will be here. So I do know that there will be an amendment on this fund to bring that revenue estimate more in line with the expenditures. Also on the expenditure side of this, what we've included in here is an amount that would be necessary for us to call a 2014 bond series. We need, above the debt service requirement that we already have existing, we would need about an additional $4 million to be able to retire that debt early. And again, we're just trying to enable the district to take advantage of interest rate savings and prepare for any future debt needs. So that is the end of the presentation. I don't want to end the presentation first. I do have a couple of things. I need to make sure that I thank several people in the room. There were several people that were very key to, they've worked since December, basically, last year on developing this budget. So that's Mr. Excel Galarza, Anita Williams, and then Mr. Christopher Young, who I don't think is present here tonight. And so at this time, I'll open it up for any questions that the board may have or any questions that the public may have, since this is a public hearing.
I have a comment. I just want to thank you all for working on trying to at least help the employees with the insurance. That was a major concern to me, and I hope we could do better the next time. But I want to thank y'all for working on that.
That's good. I had one question too, Dr. Knight. Did you say 850,000 was the contribution that we're making to the employees at $50
Yes.
an employee?
Thank you, Dr. Nizzi. This public hearing is adjourned. The time is 4:10 p.m. The Board of Trustees of Galena Park Independent School District is now convened in a special meeting on Monday, August 21st, 2023, in the Administration Building of Galena Park Independent School District, the address of which is 14705 Wood Forest Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77015. The time is 4:10 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience to this meeting of the Board of Trustees As Galena Park I.S.D. Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that the cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in Galena Park Independent School District. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today. Is there a motion to approve the designation of 10 non-business calendar days as presented to comply with House Bill 3033 changes to the Public Information Act and facilitate timely processing of requests?
I, Norma Hernandez, move we approve the designation of 10 non-business calendar days as presented.
Wanda Johnson, second the motion.
A motion was made by Norma Hernandez and seconded by Wanda Johnson. All in favor? The motion carries 7-0 with no abstentions. Is there a motion to approve the general consent agenda?
I, Jose Jimenez, move we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
I, Norma Hernandez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Jose Jimenez and seconded by Norma Hernandez. All in favor? The motion carried 7-0 with no abstentions. With respect to the financial consent agenda, do we want to remove any items for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
Wanda Johnson, move we approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
I, Norma Hernandez, second the motion.
A motion was made by Wanda Johnson and seconded by Norma Hernandez. All in favor? The motion carries 6-0 with one abstention. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 4:13 p.m.
Took me longer to drive.